I
all that.
watched outtakes. I just saw these outtakes, and it just seems like the whole time Jensen and Jared are fucking with you.
That is a fair characterization of my experience.
I mean,
on the
it's
show.
nonstop.
Yeah, it's abuse, is what it
It's
is.
abuse because didn't you have a lot? I mean, you always had to say a bunch of. You had a lot of lines.
I had plenty of lines. Yes,
Plenty of
and
lines.
They would incessantly fuck with me,
and you're trying to remember these lines, and they're fucking with
or
you.
trying to even just say them. Yes, it was maddening at times, but it was also, I think, demonstrative of the fact that we had a lot of fun on set. Like I think it is probably north of $1 million in overtime that Warner Brothers had to pay because of us fucking around on set over the years. Yeah, but without hyperbole, I think that's probably true.
Is it safe to say? I mean, like you probably love these guys like brothers. I mean, but you all three are extremely close.
Yeah, it is. It's funny. I think that one of the interesting things about the Supernatural fandom is that there are all of these factions. Like there are people who consider themselves Sam fans and Dean fans and Jared fans and Misha fans. And a lot of times they butt heads. There are, small but vocal minorities of the fandom that, like the Jared fans who hate the Misha fans or hate that I came on the show at all. And, and
you have people that hate you.
Yes. But I think that there are also small but vocal groups that think that we actors don't get along, or that, there's some feud going on between me and Jared, or Jared and Jensen, or whatever. And the fact of the matter is we get along great. And when we, hang up or end phone calls with one another, we always say, love you, brother. Can't wait to see you. I mean, we really love and care for each other. But there's this whole narrative. Maybe it's sorry, I keep banging.
You're
the microphone.
fine.
Maybe it's the fans trying to find a way to cultivate some additional drama now that.
But there really isn't any drama to be said.
No,
you never had a day where you're like, oh my god, fuck off.
Oh no, we've all we all like people
like life, real friends,
like friends, and like siblings. We have all fought with one another at one point or another, and had like real knockdown, drag out arguments.
Really? You raised your voice with each other.
Yes, certainly. But we also, but that's because we have like a really close relationship, and the overarching tenor of our friendships is one of friendship and love, for sure.
What's the biggest fight that you could recall on set that you were just like, fuck off? Like the three, you're just not getting along, or you're not getting along with someone. Do you remember? I always remember those moments when I flipped out on Welling. I was directing an episode, and he was going, everything was going wrong. The dolly broke. Allison's clothing had a problem. This window wasn't closing. And he goes in there and goes, dude, you're behind. What the fuck? And I go, hey, fuck off, Kubrick. I'm doing my best here. We got a lot of problems. He goes, dude, chill. I'm just fucking with you. I'm like, well, fuck. Got a lot going on right now. You're trying to earn respect here. And people are fucking with you. But there's got to be a day that you can remember that. Or maybe not.
No, yeah. I mean, there were times when there was a time when Jared, I can't remember. Oh, yeah. I mean, we have.
Well, here it comes.
Jared, we were on a flight together, and Jared took a photo of me. Like I failed to lock the door on the bathroom in the airplane, and Jared noticed and just opened the door and took a picture of me on the toilet. And
exposed?
I was on the toilet, and I grabbed his phone when I got back on the plane and flushed it down the toilet, which precipitated a very unpleasant fight between us. But I was like,
wait a minute. You actually flushed his toilet down the plane bath?
I flushed his phone down the
phone.
Yeah, down the plane toilet.
That's a big thing to do.
I know. It was a dick move.
Now, how upset was he?
He was furious.
Violent? Like he wanted to hit you?
He wasn't violent, but he was so pissed at me that he wouldn't talk to me. And he shouldn't. It was a completely disproportionate response to what he had done. And yet that was early on on the show when we would get into like pranking each other and escalating things. And sometimes those things got to the point where it was like, this isn't funny anymore. You know, one or the other of us would take it a little bit too far. And that happened mostly between me and Jared, but Jensen did stuff too. And I was like, really, dude? Really?
And you're just like, fuck off. Guys, I need to focus here or
but
whatever.
I'll tell you, as we got older and I think a little bit more mature, we stopped doing that. I think that we're not fucking with each other like that anymore.
Right. We're too old for this nonsense.
Well, yeah, actually. I think so.
You think so?
I think.
You think it just got old after like season 7 or 8?
Yeah.
That's when it kind of.
That is actually, I think, about when it petered out.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you miss it?
No.
You don't miss it?
No.